Hi guys, Rio here. Welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday, so of course today we are doing the next in my series of film reviews. Today we're dialing back the Wayback Machine a little bit again. I'd like to talk about a classic film that, man, I hope you guys have heard of this. If you have not, then you really need to check this out because I really think you're going to dig it. Today we're going to be talking about the 1998 classic Six String Samurai.
Six String Samurai.
Now, one of the things I want to point out too, by the way, guys, I always say I'm talking about independent films, okay? This is, in fact, an independent film. It actually came out when it was released. It was in a limited release, but it came out from a company called Palm Pictures. Palm Pictures, owned and run by Chris Blackwell. I'm going to read exactly what it says here. They produce film projects and music focusing particularly on DVD format. So literally these guys are doing direct-to-video stuff. I haven't looked to see what other stuff they have under their catalog, but I'm curious, because if they put this out, I'd be curious to see what else they've got in there.
In 1957, the bomb dropped. The last bastion of freedom became a place called Las Vegas.
What we're looking at is a post-apocalyptic dystopian fiction. And you know how much I love post-apocalyptic dystopian fiction. Well, in this case, what we're looking at is sort of an alternate history. This story supposes that during the Cold War, America lost. The worst case scenario happened, the bombs got dropped. And so the world rebuilds, trapped in a 1950s aesthetic.
And Elvis was crowned king. Now his only heir has died, and Vegas needs a new king.
Enter our hero, Buddy. Buddy, who is of course played by Jeffrey Falcon, who's also one of the writers on this, by the way. He is playing this character who is determined to be the new king. And the whole film is his journey to Las Vegas, that he might go and, you know, submit himself to take the throne. You gotta get the impression that first one, first served. Whoever gets there first becomes the king. That kind of feels like the way it runs. There's a lot of other people that think they deserve the throne too. So this guy's gotta fight his way, you know, across the deserts and wastelands of the new America to try and get there so he can be first.
Jeffrey Falcon.
Interesting guy, actually. I looked up a lot of stuff on this guy. Apparently did a lot of like, you know, kind of like Hong Kong Kung Fu type movies, previous to Six String Samurai. So he's also the main stunt coordinator on this as well. So all of this great fight stuff you're seeing, he's doing it. Kind of a Jackie Chan sort of scenario, right? This guy actually does know what he's doing, so he actually is doing his own fights. Fight sequences are amazing, just to throw that out there.
And one guitar-picking, sword-swinging wanderer is fighting for the throne.
Now, you really only have two primary characters in the movie that you follow for the majority of the time. Everyone else is an encounter, as Buddy is trying to make his way to Las Vegas. But along the way, he picks up the kid. Never has a name. It's just a little boy who doesn't talk for most of the movie, actually. Very reminiscent of, if you remember the feral child from Mad Max. Yeah, very much in that vein. The kid is played by Justin McGuire, who I think did one or two shorts after this, and that was it.
Justin McGuire.
So along the way, on his journey to claim the throne, they encounter all these different kind of bizarro people. I can't even begin to describe a lot of those. This is like somewhere between like The Warriors and the Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? They actually make a Wizard of Oz joke in there at one point, which makes me super, super happy. It's actually in the trailer. I want to talk about that person, actually. I'm going to talk about him. So they just call him the Little Man. And the Little Man is played by, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, it's Gabriel Pimentel, Pimental, who he's one of the characters that they encounter along the way.
Follow the yellow brick road, homie.
Yes, the line, and it tells you everything you need to know about the movie. So Gabriel, I actually looked him up, and you have probably seen him in a million things. Previous to Six String Samurai, he played a character in Master of Disguise. Anyone ever actually saw Master of Disguise? And also in Looney Tunes Back in Action, by a bunch of movies before that. But you probably would have seen him now he works a lot now with Rob Zombie. He appeared in Lords of Salem and also in 31. Also, he appeared in movie 43, which is interesting. And Tropic Thunder. He was appearing in Tropic Thunder. So this guy's doing a lot of work. So you've probably seen him in a million things and not realized who it was.
You know, we don't get too many new guys around here. A lot of teen wannabes on their way to Vegas.
But one of the things that's actually happening quite literally is he's being pursued by death. Right? Not metaphorically. It's death. And his band. Following him across the desert and trying to stop him from getting to Vegas. This is a fun bit. So yeah, Death challenges him to guitar battles and stuff, like, as they're traveling across. And an ultimate battle at the end, which is great. That's fascinating. It's so much fun. He's literally being pursued by Death. And Death is basically, kind of looks like Slash from Guns N' Roses. But that's not who it is. That's not who it is. In fact, Death is played by two people. There is an actor named Stephanie Gauger, who is the physical presentation of Death, and then the voice is done by Lex Lang. I want to look and see if I would know the voice from anywhere. Video games, looks like. Crash Bandicoot, Star Wars Resistance, Jujutsu Kaisen. Okay. So, definitely a voice performer. That is the voice of Death.
Don't let the Four Eyes reach Vegas alive!
So the film is directed by Lance Mungia. Again, hope I'm pronouncing it right. Now, interesting thing, I've said before, you know, it always seems like I'm going to end up, you know, running into somebody I know or associated with when I'm doing these independent film reviews. Now, I don't actually know Lance Mungia, but I did review a short film of his a few years back for Horror News. I did a review of a film called A Garden for Rio. Yeah, a very sweet film, actually. But he does a really great job of the direction on this, because this film could get away from you very quickly, I would think, as a director. Because there's so much going on, and there's just so many different things. It would be, I could imagine it being difficult to try to stay on track. Like, you get so distracted so easily, right? No, he's very solid, making sure you see exactly what he wants you to see, and actually seems like a pretty good lock on what he was trying to do here and the story he was trying to tell. And again, you know, you're directing like kung fu action, right? The film was written by Lance Mungia, by the way, along with Jeffrey Falcon. They actually wrote this film together. So I like that collaboration between him and the actor, because that way, with this, doing the stunt coordinating, everything else, these two did a lot on this movie between the two of them. And I think they worked pretty damn well together. Okay, so we'll take a minute and let's talk a bit about the cinematography. Cinematography, especially when, I've said before about shooting special effects. Well, when you're shooting action sequences, again, this is a matter of, you got to know what to shoot and what's going to look the best. Because you might be working with post-viz, or like when they have to edit in stunt performers. Now, in this case, they didn't really have to edit in stunt performers. Most of these guys were doing their own stunts. But our cinematographer is Christian Bernier. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's got a few other things that she's worked on. I don't know if those are action movies or not, or anything like that. But she does a really good job of shooting all these fight sequences. And there are a few kind of special effects heavy. It's all practical, by the way. There's no CGI stuff or anything going on. This is like any kind of post-viz stuff. All of this stuff seems to be pretty much just straightforward in camera. She does a really good job of shooting all of this stuff. Shooting fight sequences can be so hard, just to get the exact right space, you know what I mean? So that you get exactly what you want on the camera. That's a real challenge, shooting fight choreography. So I gotta say, she does a really great job in all of this. She's really good at getting these great landscapes that you get, because the land itself is a big part of the story. So she does there's some really great beauty shots that are done in this. It almost looks like a kung fu film the way that she shoots it. Definitely a wonderful job as far as that goes.
All right, you Soviet territory. No one goes through. The war is over, baby. It's been over for years. So all you commies, step aside.
Let's talk about the score. This is really the highlight of this movie. Okay. As I explained in the beginning, the setup of this dystopian fiction is that the world has been frozen, at least America has been frozen in a 1950s aesthetic. So musically, it stays in the same place, right? That's very important to keep in mind because the music is part of what really feeds it. Like, that's half the movie in this particular instance. We've got two major contributors to this score. I am going to start with the main score composer, Brian Tyler. Now, Brian Tyler, you might know this name. This guy has scored a zillion things, okay? He basically scored the entire Fast and Furious franchise. That was all him scoring those. He's also scored a number of MCU films, including The Age of Ultron. I believe it said he scored the Power Rangers movie, too, that came out a few years ago. Guy does a lot of work, and he knows what he's doing. He does this beautiful instrumental. I mean, I talk about the score being subtle. In this case, the score is not subtle, but it's not supposed to be. It's literally part of the story, and it's just amazing. Definitely got that rockabilly vibe. He must have had so much fun scoring this thing. It's so good. There is actually a full soundtrack available for this, by the way. So if you want to know that first, you can get that. I believe it's on Amazon. Second contributing factor to the score is a band I discovered because of this movie. And I can't get enough of them now. A big part is a band called the Red Elvises. You heard me. The Red Elvises. If you have not heard of the Red Elvises, and it's entirely possible you have not, it's this kind of really weird combination of like Russian folk music and rockabilly and surf. And it's not all instrumental either. They actually have songs with lyrics and stuff like that. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about the Red Elvises because the Red Elvises actually do still exist. They were initially a much larger band. They were originally formed like in Los Angeles, I think, and they used to actually do just straightforward like Russian folk music, like on Venice Beach or something. Like that was how they started. At this point, they do still play in places. They still exist, but it's mainly just the one guy now. I'm not gonna massacre this man's name. I'm just gonna use his first name, so Igor. Igor still has it. They now tour as Igor and the Red Elvises, and I think it's just two people now. It's just two people now, I think, that do the show. But if you ever see them, yes. Now these guys also appear in the movie. They are characters that are encounters at certain points through the film, and you can tell these guys had a pretty good time. There's so many levels of just crazy, where it seems like everybody did a lot of different things on it. So the musicians are actually actors, and the actors are doing their own stunts, and you know what I mean? It's super cool.
Nice tuxedo. Nice tuxedo to die.
All in all, honestly, guys, this is a cult classic. This film is one of those things that's like sort of underground, like if you know, you know. And people that have seen it, I mean, it's got a rabid fan base for people that actually love this movie. Like, I adore this movie. There was just recently like a 4K restoration or something that just came out recently. I remember I pre-ordered it when it came out. Oh, the cleanup on it is so nice. So nice. So if you want to try, if you haven't seen this thing, or even if you have, I would recommend looking for that restoration version. It's beautiful. I've never seen it so clean. I've always seen it in like crappy VHS copies. I've never gotten to see it as an actual clean print. And the restoration is beautiful. So if you want to get your hands on this thing, that's what I recommend, is going for the restoration version. It's worth it.
They called him the Six-String Samurai, and he became a legend.
So, here we are at the end, and it's time for the rating system. You guys know I've already said I don't like giving perfect scores because I feel like it sets the bar too high for anybody else. But I gotta be honest here, guys. On a 1 out of 5, I gotta give Six String Samurai 5 guitars. It's just so much fun. The music is so great. The action sequences are so good. The characters are so bizarre and so entertaining. And it's got just the right level of comedy. Like, it's such a snarky story all the way around. Yeah. If you've seen it, then you know. If you haven't, then you should go and find it. And like I said, across the board, I recommend the 4K restoration. It's clean, it's crisp, it's beautiful. Mwah, chef's kiss on that one. Okay, guys, so I guess that's it for me for this week. I've got some independent films coming up, some new movies that are coming out in the next few weeks that I'm going to be bringing up for you over my next few reviews. So if you want to keep an eye out for those, there's a button over here someplace. You can hit the subscribe. You'll get notifications of when my reviews go up and any other weirdness I decide to do. Because with this channel, you never know. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you guys next week with something else to watch. Peace.